back to Secondhand Sellers, where we talk about all things thrift, resale, and secondhand. I'm Sarah.
I'm Clayton.
Welcome back again this week. What do we have on the agenda?
So today we are going to be talking about cross-posting, where you take one item, but you are posting it on multiple different platforms. So, what experience do you have with this?
I don't, because I don't do it. Now, this would be a very short episode if we just each said yes or no, we do or do not do it. So we'll pull it apart, the concept of cross-posting a little bit, but personally, I don't cross-post, typically. I don't think I ever have. I'm paranoid. I'm afraid it's going to sell on both platforms at the same time, and then I'll be up a creek. Now, it would be different if I had multiples of the thing. Then maybe I would do that. Or maybe I could do that. Like, if I happen upon the exact same vintage item twice, I could list one on eBay, one on Etsy, and that would be fine. But I don't typically cross-post because I am worried about that, what if thing. I don't know what the statistical likelihood is that two people will buy it at this, both places, but at the same time, but it's possible.
See, I cross-post some items on eBay and Mercari. I've talked a bit about how I use Mercari. I don't like to use it very often, but it's really good for media because people are willing to pay for the shipping often for media, as opposed to eBay where nobody wants to pay for shipping on anything. However, that's by cross-posting. Often, if I have an item sell, generally it sells more often on eBay. Just because eBay has a much broader market.
Yeah. How do you decide what you're going to cross-post and what you will not?
It's generally the items under like $10 and under. So it will be video games are mainly the items I'll cross-post, just because there are a lot of video games already on eBay, and I don't want to do free shipping. So I'll post it on eBay, but it might be like a $10 item. I might post it at $6 plus the shipping, just because of those situations where, the person is in Alaska or California or who knows where, and now I'm paying $6 for shipping, versus if I sold it for $10 and free, I'm putting less in my pocket. So anything around that price point where the market, there's more of the item available on the market, and I'm not too worried about the item actually selling quickly.
It's not a hot item.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and cross-post it. Just because it's something I can do during my downtime, and because I've already taken the pictures for eBay, I can take the same exact pictures, the same description, the same title, and just boop, 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 do the same pricing. Mercari's shipping is more expensive than eBay's, and I'm willing to jack prices up on Mercari. Because Mercari operates a little bit different than eBay. You are incentivized to send promotions where you drop the price of your item. That should be its own thing, talking about Mercari. But as it is, when I do cross-post, most of the time my items will sell on eBay. Just because of that, I have not been cross-posting as often. It will be, like I said, those $10 items. Some of them I will. However, I have cross-posted items on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. Because Facebook Marketplace is an environment where I can control if it sells or not, because I don't offer shipping on Facebook Marketplace. And if I have it on eBay and somebody scoops it up, well, it's easy for me to go on Facebook Marketplace and go, bloop, delete.
Yeah, I can see doing that. I've talked about this before. I don't, I don't love selling in person in that capacity. It'd be different if we had a booth or a shop or something, but I don't love the Facebook Marketplace situation. So I am unlikely to do this with more than maybe a couple items that are awkward, but that's a good point. And maybe I should think about it for some of our bigger, harder to ship items, or things that the shipping may be prohibiting people from buying them, because I would feel comfortable, I think, doing it there.
Yeah.
Because it's not virtual. And because it's easy to go on Facebook Marketplace if you have someone interested and be like, oh, sorry, it already sold. They don't know where it's sold.
Yeah, and I've done it with more expensive electronics. Stuff that it's like, sure, on eBay, I might get $120, but then eBay takes their fees, and then I have to pay for the shipping. Versus if I do it on Facebook, and if I just mark it at 100, and somebody comes and goes, here's $90 cash, I'd rather have $90 cash that's not
going through the whole eBay system.
Yeah.
So one other question I had, since you are a cross poster, do you note in the listing that you're cross posting it?
No, I don't.
You do not. Why?
Because I don't want my customer to go, cool, and go to the other platform and maybe get it for a little bit cheaper or whatever. I know there are websites available where you can link up your eBay store, your Etsy, your Mercari, Poshmark, anything like that, and you can upload one thing to this website and it will cross post to all of them at once. I've never looked into it.
Does it do the reverse once it sells, or do you have to remember?
I don't know.
So, like, how do you, like, so you are only cross posting a small percentage of your sales, or your items, your inventory.
It's probably like 5%.
How do you remember what you've cross posted and what you haven't?
For the most part, because I've limited it to just media. Whenever I have something that sells for that $10 price range, most of it I already remember. I also have it on Mercari. Because of the way that Mercari is set up, where you are encouraged to go through and promote and drop the price of items and send offers by dropping the price, versus eBay. So it's really such a small margin of my inventory as it is. I have had a couple items where it sells and I go, I can't remember, and I have to go and scroll through one thing or the other. But eBay makes it super nice because you can search your inventory with, like, right in the eBay, what is it, unsold page,
or active.
Yeah, active listings. That's right. That's what it's called. So you can go right in there and just start punching in some keywords for your item, and it will pull up and go, yeah, I have it sold, or I have it listed here. Mercari is a little bit more obtuse, where you have to actually physically wheel through it, and
which is hard if you have hundreds of items.
I don't.
Yeah,
just
you
because.
Don't like Mercari that much.
Yeah, I'm trying to phase out Mercari as it is. It's just good to do for those few items where it's like, I just want to get something for it. But I do plan on stepping away from Mercari overall just because it's not that great.
So I guess let's just talk, like, boil down a little bit more to some of the pros and cons of cross-posting. And we would love to hear in the comments down below if you guys cross-post. If you do cross-post, have you ever run into a situation where it's sold on simultaneously on different platforms? How did you handle that? I personally, I guess I would just, if I were doing that and that happened, I would, whichever one technically sold earlier. But what an awkward conversation, and eBay will ding you for canceling orders and stuff. So it's something to remember. But what would you think are the pros of cross-posting?
Just you get more eyes on it generally.
Yeah, greater audience.
That's the best thing. And I have found there are some items, like I've said, they sell for more on Mercari than what I was going to get on eBay. Just because people are more apt to pay for the shipping on Mercari versus eBay. Yeah, it's part of the culture. So I've made a few extra bucks, but in comparison to how much I've technically made from that, it's maybe like an extra $2 per item at the most. It's not massive, but and in comparison to if I didn't cross post, I might just have a couple of items that are sitting on my eBay store not selling at all. And
so obviously more, like you said, more eyes, so a wider audience, and maybe quicker sales, you think, for some of those less desirable items?
Yeah, for some of the items, yeah.
So definitely. This is not something you would do with a high value item. You expect it to sell.
I wouldn't do it with any high value items. I wouldn't do it with an item that is unique, such as one of those more eclectic items, or like vintage items where it's like it's one of a kind as is. I definitely wouldn't do it. While in the same vein, I know there are groups out there where if you have those unique items, you can talk about them and show, hey, I'm listing this, I'm selling this online. That might be a better route to do it for some of those higher value items. But I've never been in one of those situations where it's like, this is unique enough that more people need to know about it.
Yeah, so, like a forum or like a collector's group or something. Yeah. That might make sense. That's not exactly the same as cross-posting. That's probably more advertisement.
Promoting, yeah.
But, so the biggest pro is just the wider audience, the chance that you might sell a little quicker. Cons. So for me, like I said, the con is that risk, and I wish I knew statistically what that risk is of selling it at on two platforms at the same time, accidentally. And I think like you said, with the more desirable items, the more unique items, the one-of-a-kind stuff, you're at higher risk of that, especially if you have no competitors at all. But as far as other cons, I think just remembering that you cross-posted, especially if you're doing it a lot, if you're, like you said, using these like websites or whatever that
I think those websites, how they operate, because they upload everything at once, because it is a paid service to do those websites. I think they also track when one of them sells and they deactivate the other ones.
Yeah, so if you're doing it that way, it is safer and a little easier. If you're doing it manually and you're doing this with hundreds of items,
I would not recommend
that. I would say that would be a big con, is just human error, and you forget to take it down and someone else buys it, and then you start dinging your ratings, because eBay will penalize you for canceling things for reasons that are not buyer related. So that's something to remember. If you're going to play with cross-posting, make sure you keep really great records if you're not using a service to help you.
I will also say that if I wasn't taking that time to do the cross-posting, which that's the thing, whenever I do this cross-posting, I'm sitting at work, I can't do anything right now. I don't have new listings on my phone that I can update. I might as well do something because it's benefiting my business. But I would recommend do anything else just because you're better.
A new listing is probably better than a cross-posting.
Yes, getting a new listing, being like, cool, I put 10 listings on eBay today versus 5 on eBay and 5 on another platform. You're going to end up better sales overall on eBay. But that's just, constantly building up one structure. It's like how we make YouTube videos. We're making all these YouTube videos. We could be cross-posting them onto other platforms such as TikTok. And we might in the future. But for right now, it's good to just build up what we got.
We do have an audio version of this podcast, though, that is distributed with all the major podcast companies. So if you would like to, we really do want your support, and we love for you to watch us on YouTube. But if you ever need to, we are also on those audio. But it's a very simple thing. It's not a competing
platform. We're not putting a lot of time into reformatting everything that we're doing
Yeah.
to do that cross-posting.
Right. We rip the audio and pull it over.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're cross-posting, especially if the sites you're cross-posting from have a lot of different standards,
Mm-hmm.
I think you might take a lot of time to make a whole second listing that you could use to make a brand new listing for a different item.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to sort of weigh the pros and the cons of that and figure out if it really is going to benefit your business enough to take that time.
Yeah.
And like you said, maybe for those less desirable items, if you've got something that's been sitting for 6 months and you just want to try to get rid of it, maybe that would be the time too, is like sort of retroactively cross-posting just to kind of move things along.
Yeah.
But
and we've talked about it in other episodes where another thing you can do, you can always drop the price.
Yep.
You can always go back and review your listing, make sure your shipping is up to date. You can even go, you know what, maybe I don't want to sell this on here. Maybe I should take it and sell it at a garage sale.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of different options. I would say if you're new to reselling, don't worry about cross-posting.
No.
If you've already
You want to build your store.
Yeah, if you've already experienced a decent amount, have built up your store, you got some stale items where you're like, this should be selling, but it's not. Go ahead and experiment a little bit. But just be wary that there are hazards.
Yeah. There's also the option too, if you're not comfortable cross-posting, but you have items that are sitting, you could just move them to another platform too and see if they do better with that secondary platform. So you have a few options there if cross-posting's not for you. I do like the idea of the Facebook Marketplace thing though. I can think of a couple of things. We have a couple of lamps and things that are large that might make sense to cross-post on there. Just because they're going to be expensive and cumbersome to ship, that it might be worth it, and we might be able to offload it sooner to someone locally.
And
that's something to think about.
I will say with the Facebook cross posting, I've only sold one item on Facebook where I had it listed on eBay. It sat for like, I think it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I thought it would sell by that point, and it just wasn't. So I posted it on Facebook, and I got $10 less than what I was asking for on Facebook or on eBay, but it sold and I got cash.
Yeah.
Versus
and no overhead
eBay
fees and all that stuff.
Yeah. So that's just stuff to keep in mind.
Yeah, and I think Facebook Marketplace it's hit or miss. Sometimes things will sell so fast and weird things you would never guess. And then I've shocked my husband a time or two. Sold. Like, I'm like, oh, maybe we can get something for this, and like, sure enough, we did. Yeah. And then sometimes you list something and you're like, it just isn't going anywhere. Like, no one's looking. You
get no views and it's like, all right. It's
a crapshoot, but I might try a little dabble in cross posting that way, but we'll see. But thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like our content. If you're enjoying listening to us jibber jabber all the time. Please hit the like button. It helps us, and subscribe if you haven't.
And if you have any suggestions for videos that you would like to
what topics haven't we covered? Let us know in the comments. We do try to interact with our audience down there, and we would love to hear your experiences again, like I said earlier, about cross-posting too. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. Come again next week for another episode of the Secondhand Sellers. And until then, happy thrifting.
See ya.
Bye.